Hi, I'm Angie Knowles with AngieKnowles.com and SurfaceDesignAcademy.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a QR code that you can use with your art and your art practice. I will show you 3 different ways of creating a QR code using all free resources, and at the end of the video, we'll take a look at how you can incorporate this code into your art practice. But before we get into that, let's talk about exactly what is a QR code and how did they come about. The QR in QR code stands for quick response, and these codes are a type of barcode that was invented in 1994 by a Japanese automotive company for labeling parts. In its basic form, it consists of black squares arranged on a white background in a square grid. This grid contains data for a locator such as a website URL, maybe a social media URL. It can be a text file or a PDF file that you can download, or even a link to a video. It basically consists of any information that the originator of the code wishes the viewer to be able to access. These codes are usually accessed with a smartphone or some other type of imaging device, and the camera will scan the code and then direct the viewer to wherever the code originator or code creator wishes them to go to. So now that we know what QR codes are, let's go ahead and get started in creating them. The first program we're going to use is an online QR code generator at qr-code-generator.com. Now you can use this without setting up an account, or you can set up an account. There are so many options here and so many different things you can do, but we're going to create just the basic QR code using the URL option. So go ahead and go to qr-code-generator.com, and in this large area to the left, you want to click on the top option and then type in the URL where you want the viewer to be directed to. I'm just going to type in my website, and off to the right you can see the code being generated. We're going to ignore all of these other options because I just want to create the basic code. And the reason I do that is that's what most viewers are used to seeing, and I don't want to give them something that they may be a little leery of. So when you click on Save Your Code, you're going to get this window, but you do not have to set up an account. Your code will be saved even if you don't set up an account, and it will be downloaded to your computer and to wherever that you have chosen for your downloads to be directed to. And that is really how simple it is to create this code using this online QR code generator. So your code has been created, it's been saved in your computer, and now it's ready to be used in whatever way you want to, and we'll talk about that later in the video. So the next program we're going to use is an online app called Canva. Canva is an online app for graphic design. Now you can have a free account or you can set up a paid account, but you can do the QR codes with a free account, so it's not necessary to have that paid account. If you already have an account, go ahead and log into your Canva account, and if you don't, go to canva.com and follow the steps to create an account. Once you log into your account, you're going to come to the Canva homepage where you'll see a lot of different things. If you have a new account, you won't be seeing all of this because for an existing account, you will see the recent designs. But if you have a new account, you won't see that. So off to the left, I want you to click on Apps, and then here in the search bar, type in QR code, and it will come up with these different QR code generators, and let's click the second one on the top line. Now this QR code generator window will open, and in this window we're going to select Use a New Design, and we're going to create a custom size. I like to use about 200 by 200 pixels, but you can use any size you want. This is a nice little medium size code. And then let's click on Generate Design, and this new window will pop open. Okay, so now we have our new window for our design. And the first thing I like to do is to give my design a name. So I'm just going to name this QR code. Now that I've done that, it's time to go ahead and type in the URL of where you want the viewer to be directed to when they scan your code. And once you've done that, click on Generate Code, and Canva will generate your new QR code for you. So here is the code that Canva generated for us. Now it's a little smaller than our 200 by 200, so let's increase it to the 200 by 200 by grabbing the upper right corner and scaling it out to the corner of the 200 by 200 frame and doing the lower left also. Once we've done that, it's time to save our QR code. In Canva, you go to the share button in the upper right and click on download, and then you have a number of different options to save it as. You can save it as a PNG or JPEG, and it always gives you a recommended option, and in this case it recommends a PNG, and that's what I like to use. So I'll go ahead and select PNG and then select download, and it will download to wherever my files are set to download on the computer. And that's how easy it is to create a QR code using Canva. So the final way that we're going to use to create our QR code is by using a program called Inkscape. Inkscape is a free vector-based drawing program that you download and install to your computer. It's personally what I use, but that's mainly because I use Inkscape on a regular basis and I'm very comfortable with it. But any of these methods work. To download the program, go to inkscape.org and click on Download Now. The downloader will automatically detect your operating system and select the correct version of the program for you to download based on your operating system. I already have Inkscape downloaded, so I won't continue with the download process, but you go ahead and follow the download process through to the end. Now once you've installed Inkscape, go ahead and open the program, and you will come to the main page. Your page probably won't look anything like mine, and that's because I've customized my Inkscape, but the process will be the same no matter what your page looks like. So go to the top menu bar, and then across the top you want to go over to Extensions, come down to Render, Barcode, and then QR Code. Because remember, QR codes is just a type of barcode. So this dialog window will open, and in the text field you want to put the URL that you want the viewer to be directed to when they scan the code. In this case, I already have my website in here, and I'm going to leave it because that's where I want the viewer to go to. The rest of this I will leave as is. Remember, I want to create the most basic code possible, so I don't want to try to get fancy and do all this other stuff because I don't want to discourage the viewer from scanning the code. If you wish, you can click Live Preview and you will see the code before you accept it and close out the window. So here is our QR code generated by Inkscape. Now it's a little small, so let's scale it up so we can see it better. When I click on the code until we get these directional arrows, and then just grab one of the corner arrows, and on a PC hold down your control key and pull the arrow out. On a Mac you want to hold down the command key. This keeps everything proportional. Now it's time to save our QR code and to export it. In Inkscape, it's a two-step process. First we want to save it, and we're going to save it in the Inkscape native format, which is SVG. So to save it, we're just going to go to File, Save, and then name it and save it as an Inkscape SVG. To export it, you go to File, Export, and the export dialog window will come open, and then on the right hand side you can choose the format, whether you want it to be a PNG or a JPEG or a PDF, and on the left hand side you select where you want it to save it to your computer. And as you can see, no matter which one you use, the QR code generator, Canva, or Inkscape, it's a very easy process. So now that we've created our codes, let's go ahead and take a look at some different ways that you can use them. The first thing I like to do is I like to include my QR code when I submit work for an exhibit. You can replace your basic labels if the exhibitors will let you, with your QR codes, or you can add a QR code to the label. And by scanning these codes, the visitors can have access to some additional information about your artwork. You can also include your QR codes with your product packaging. Let's say you sell small items. You can have a little hang tag and have the QR code on the product, and the viewer can, or the purchaser can, scan this code and go to your sales page or go to your store on your website or on your Etsy site and view additional products or view additional information about the product they purchased. You can also use your QR code to increase your social media engagements. You can use the QR code to send a viewer to your social media accounts. You can also create a quiz or a survey for your viewers that can be linked to your social media account. Your viewers can get more involved in your process through the use of these QR codes. Now, this is one of my favorite ones, is you can create a QR code that will link to a video that will give your viewer a virtual tour of your studio. People love to see where artists work. I know I do, and I know other artists do it, and your viewers and your customers love to see you where you work and see some behind the scenes of you creating your work. So create a virtual studio tour and use the QR code to direct your viewer to that tour. Another thing you can do is, if you have a class or if you have a freebie that you want to give out to your viewers, but you don't want it to be something that goes on and on forever, you can use the QR code to grant your viewer limited access to this freebie that you've created. It can be digital video content. It can be like a flip book of your work that's available for a limited time only to the viewers, or it can be a tutorial or some temporary virtual exhibits. But it can be used to create limited access. And finally, you can also use your QR codes to educate your viewer about your art, about art history and techniques, or anything that you feel that can be an educational component to your work. Viewers like to know what's behind the work, what's behind the artist. So don't forget that educational component. And these are just a very few ways that you can use your QR codes, and I know that you will find some additional ways. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and if you like content like this, leave me a comment down in the comment section and let me know. If you do like content like this, I can create more of it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful, and I hope you can use some of these ideas in your art and your art practice.